Family, you are now in the kitchen with Chef Nixon for all your fixes for the latest, greatest of VCU men's basketball. So, VCU hosted Norfolk State Friday. How'd it go? Let's get into it. All right. VCU hosts Norfolk State. This is the first time since 1998 that VCU has played Norfolk State. And it's a good Friday. It's on Friday. Good environment, sold out crowd, a gang of Norfolk State fans, Norfolk State Spartan fans showed up to the stew, producing a sold out crowd. Awesome to be a part of. Great atmosphere. Uh, Norfolk State comes to this game with a record of 5-3, uh, coming off a dominant performance against William and Mary, beating them 96-62. Norfolk State is a well-coached team. They're hard-nosed, chip on their shoulder, and they're coming in Friday with a underdogs mentality. Uh, Coach Rob Jones, Norfolk State head coach, uh, told me before the game that they kind of were offended that VCU decided to put them on the schedule because they haven't played them in such a long time. Uh, why do you want to play us now? So they already had like what's the word, chalkboard or chalkboard motivation or something like that. Somebody knows the right terminology. I'm missing it. Uh, but they came in here with a battery in their back, ready to play. Um, Along with their Coach Jones just being a hard nosed coach, he's a very easy to talk to guy. But if you see his demeanor and if you watch how his players respond to him, you can tell that he's a very blunt, straightforward type of guy. He really wants. It takes certain type of players to be able to play for him, and you can tell by how disciplined North State is, right? Uh, and to add to that, Coach Jones said like if VCU wants to play us next year, then we didn't do our job. We want to make sure that VCU doesn't put us back on the schedule. And this is a buy game for VCU, so they had to purchase North State. So usually when you have these buy games, they're supposed to be the ones that are easy wins, or at least decent competition, good wins. Um, so North State is led by Jamar Thomas, small guard with a big heart, big lot of fight in him, averaging 17 points per game, shooting extremely well from the free throw line. I think he's like 50. No, it's probably up now. Probably like 55 or 61 or something like that. Uh, and they have a couple of transfers from Rider, or actually three from Rider University. There's a connection there. But once one Rider player came, he recruited his other two teammates, and now North State isn't your typical North State, and they have been for the last few years. Um, but they came into this game ready to play. Now, VCU on the other hand, they entered this game with a record of 4-3. VCU is also coming off a pretty big victory over the former coach Mike Rose at Penn State in Orlando for the ESPN Events Invitational. They pulled out a victory 86-74 over Penn State. Um, and I think that VCU did a lot of things, even though the record was 1-2, I think they did a lot of things well uh, to help grow and build on stuff that they experienced so far in this season. VCU was favored in this game against Nova State, but I knew it wouldn't be easy. Nova State does a lot of things well that VCU has shown to struggle with, like starting off with zone. Um, Nova State runs like this 2-3, and then sometimes they flip it to like a matchup zone, um, which has given VCU issues in the past. Uh, Mini State, Mini East, for example. But the biggest thing for me coming into this game is VCU had to match Norfolk State's intensity. Uh, it's easy. It's easier for VCU to look past Norfolk State when you have Memphis uh, the following week. Um, but Norfolk State, this is like a Super Bowl for them. You know what I mean? They've been having a pretty good season. They've been having a good season these last, I guess, 5 to 10 years, really, and they really they really haven't had the type of notoriety nor success of VCU. So this is a big game for them, and you can tell by I can tell by talking to the coach. I can tell by watching the players warm up. They were focused on getting this victory. Um, and the game will come down to has VCU grown from Orlando and their woes from down there and their success from down there? Have they grown? Have they learned? Um, or will we be Graham? Excuse me, dog sitting upstairs, man. Upstairs, and stop barking before I put you outside. Sorry. So, will VCU build on that, or will we be fugazi? Will we be front runners in the sport? Only time will tell. Let's get into the game. Unlike typical VCU this year, we actually got off to a pretty decent start. I thought we had some good momentum starting out, playing aggressive, punched Nova State in the mouth, which you would need to do when a team is coming into your house with that much confidence, um, and with the belief that they can really upset you, or shouldn't be even upset. They have the attitude like VCU's just another team. They're not better than us. We just got to beat them. Um, and I think VCU punched them in the mouth. But on the other side, I think that we figured that we could punch Norfolk State in the mouth. I don't know if because it's HBCU. I don't know if because we don't really know too much about Norfolk State. We didn't pay much attention to Norfolk State, but we punched them in the mouth. But Norfolk State punched us back. Punched us back, and Rams had a 4-point lead, which was erased. Um, Norfolk State took the lead and held on to that for the remainder of the half. I think the biggest issue in the first half was VCU's very stagnant defense. I mean, stagnant offense, um, which is to be kind of expected. That's just how they are. They go through these droughts, especially when they're not hitting shots from outside of the paint. And our number one option from three is Max Shoga, and he was not having the best of games from like from long range. Uh, Zeb Jackson couldn't get one to fall, uh, and on the other side of the court, there's a lack of attention to detail, which led to State uh, ending the half with a 26 to 23 lead. Uh, so when you're playing a team like Nova State, you punch them in the mouth, they punch you back, and they end up taking the lead going into halftime. You have officially made this a dogfight. You know what I mean? There's gonna be certain things that you just certain teams you can't play with, right? There's teams that they don't really have it. They don't have a winners mentality. They don't have leadership from the coaching staff all the way down to the captain of the team. They don't really have that leadership. They don't really have that dog in them. All respect to all respect to Norfolk State because they got dog in them. They had fight in them. They had they had grit with them, some stick to itiveness. So you would think VCU being the favorite, VCU being at home, VCU coming off a win against Penn State, huge win for them. You would think they found a recipe because the fans we saw you can't I can't unsee what I saw down in Orlando. Um, you would think they would come out with major intensity and fire in their eyes, but no, that wasn't the case. It was almost the opposite. It was almost the opposite, as if this is just supposed to happen for us. This is Norfolk State. We're VCU. This is supposed to happen. I don't know what it is. We're supposed to win, but no. It started looking like Jamel Charlo and Canelo Alvarez in there. Just a one-sided ass whooping. Uh, VCU came out the half. One bucket, that was a Max Shoga layup, and then three turnovers. I mean, it was just unforced. To the point where you just want to just. I'm calling the game, and I have to sit there and try to be peaceful and and not show true emotion and still try to give out love on both sides, and see the bright side on both sides, and critique without being too harsh. Uh, but that was just poor intensity, and that was like we had during the broadcast. I have to give out keys to the game, and one of the keys to the game for VCU was matching the intensity of Norfolk State, and for probably 36, 35, 34 minutes of this game, we didn't do that. We didn't do it at all. You know, I felt like almost half this game we were sleepwalking. Um, the attention to detail was piss poor, and I'm trying to be as nice as possible by saying this because I've seen how VCU can play. I've seen how locked in they can be. You know what I'm saying? I've seen all of it already. And for them to come out and put on that performance in front of a sold out crowd, in front of uh, a mixed crowd of Norfolk State fans who came down with the attitude they were better than y'all, and for that to for the intensity to not be there, it was disappointing. So they called a timeout, uh, and then out of the timeout, Nova State ends up pushing their lead to a 10-point lead, quieting a sold out crowd outside of Nova State fans. Um, and still, it was. I had a friend of mine call me, and I'm talking over the game with him. I had to talk about this game more than any other game. It was weird. Uh, he's like, so was the crowd were they loud? I was like, well, you got to give them something to cheer about. It was to the point where you want to get into it, then a turnover. You'll want to get into it, and then Nova State scores three in a row. You'll want to get into it, then we make a bonehead play. So it was one of those things where, and credit to Nova State, they did a really good job defensively, mixing things up. I think their adjustments coming out the second half were really good. One of the adjustments they made, Coach Jones, we spoke, like I said, we spoke before the game, and he was saying that they wanted to make sure that we couldn't run pick and roll effectively. In the first half, we had a little bit of success, um, and then so he made the adjustment of whenever Max was in the pick and roll, they were going to blitz it, get the ball out of Max's hands, and try to find somebody else to start our offense or create offense, and that made our offense stagnant. Um, we we need more than one playmaker, but at the same time, I feel like sometimes this team is a little bit too unselfish. For example, Mike Bell, you get into the paint, I get you're being an unselfish player, but at times, please remember you're 6'8", bro. You're 6'8", 220. You're athletic. Get in that paint, get your floater off. Which I think Michael Bell played pretty damn good this game. Um, he had a career high 11 boards. Um, he was definitely flying around, makes his defense is almost damn near elite. He has a we put him on Jamari Thomas for the second half, and he did a really good job on Jamari. Um, but however, VCU here's where I give VCU credit, right? They got to fight. They're not people. They're not a team that's just going to lay down and just quit, right? As far as the want to, and will to win type thing, they're never going to quit. They're going to keep fighting. And with 4 minutes remaining, VCU decided to actually show up to the party and play with the intensity that they had for the full game against Penn State. It was real like that. I think that's the most disappointing thing about this because you've seen you've seen VCU play extremely hard before, and just to not see the same effort duplicated in the very next game is just like, okay, well, who who are y'all? What are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? The identity of the team. You know what I mean? So there's that. But under 4 minutes, VCU decides to play. Um, that was actually helped out by Zeb Jackson. He scored a quick 8 points, two threes, and knocked it down two free throws. Uh, and VCU had their fair share. VCU had their fair share of opportunities to come back and truly grab the bull by the horns and take control of this game. Um, however, you know, two plays that really stand out to me the most that are boneheaded plays, things that you cannot allow to happen when it's it's only if you're trying to win, it's winning time. It's under like 4 minutes. It's time to win. And two plays that stood out to me. Number one, we guarded the ball extremely well. We had our intensity up and guarded for a complete 29 seconds. And here's where the attention to detail matters. The little things. Norfolk State scrambling, kicks it out to Jamari Thomas, their guy. Christian Furman closes out as if now there's 1 second on the clock. That's the most important thing. It's 1 second on the clock. Christian Furman closes out as if he has the option to drive, as if this is 20 seconds. Instead of making like running out there and making him put the ball on the ground, he closes out short. Gives their number one guy a step in three. Boom, he knocks it down. So now we had the lead cut to three. Now it's back to six. Okay. The next play that drove me up a wall. Coming out of a timeout, VCU applies the press, and Norfolk State draws up a play, and they throw a Hail Mary pass all the way over the top to Allen B. Train for a layup. For a layup. An uncontested layup to push the lead to 5. And that was under a minute to go. Making it a 2-possession game. Unacceptable. That's something that can't happen. Not being aware of the shot clock on defense. That's something that can't happen. All these little things came back to bite VCU in the tail. That ended up making this a free throw battle. Salute to Norfolk State. They stepped up to the plate, knocked down the free throws. They were 15 for 17 from the free throw line in this game. And Norfolk State upset VCU 63-60. And then on top of that insult to injury, they let everybody in the stew know about it. Waving to the crowd, making heart eyes, making hearts. It was just Norfolk State fans hanging around in the stew all late. I've seen so many people just hanging in the stew just after the game, celebrating in your own crib. It was disgusting. It was hard to swallow. Pause. But my takeaway, I got a few. Number one, the intensity. You got to have intensity from the start of the game to the end of the game. If you want to win. Certain teams, you know what I'm saying, you may think that you can just take off, but that's the bad mentality because you're going to run into a team like this. And if that's your habit to try to turn it on and turn it off, you're going to be unsuccessful. You're going to be unsuccessful. So you got to work on the intensity, having that for 40 minutes. Secondly, the pick and roll defense. Atrocious. Atrocious. It looked as if we didn't have any clue of what we wanted to do. I'm recording right now. I'll get it later. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Pick and roll defense. Atrocious. What are we doing? How are we guarding it? North State did a good job of throwing different variations of screens, whether it be a flat screen, whether it be an angled screen. However, North State was able to get penetration and get down in the paint and create for themselves that way. So in that we didn't. I don't believe we made an adjustment on that. Maybe until like the last minute or so, like last under 4 minutes, something like that. But the damage was already done, if you ask me. Um, half offense. We got to figure this out. Now, this is the only thing where I give some grace to. You know what I mean? You still have to wait to see how we're truly going to look once Sean gets back. Michael Bell isn't necessarily the offensive player. Well, he isn't the offensive player of Sean, um, and that can be we have two offensive players that are basically down right now. Uh, Sean Barstow, he has a chance to be our leading scorer. Uh, and then you got Bamsall, whose appeal was denied. So you do have that, and that's the only thing. That's the only thing I give a little bit of grace for. Um, however, we got to do something. We got to figure this out. We have so many wasted possessions where we're just sitting there dribbling at the top. Um, we and I think that starts with some of them being not as unselfish as they are. Like, I hate to keep harping on this, but Michael Bell has to, being that he's in the role and he's starting, he's getting these minutes. He has to be able to give us a little bit more offensively. Um, I like the fact that we're having the ball in his hand a little bit more. I think the sky's the limit potential wise for Michael Bell, but I think the next step for him is, okay, in order to truly create for others, you have to be a threat by yourself. Um, so if he has to get into the paint, he has to start putting like, shoot your shot, get a floater off. You're really good at getting to the paint. Get your floater off. Get some moves to once you get in the paint, so you can get something going. Because if the scouting report is, oh, he'll get in the paint, but he's looking to pass, then you're not going to be as effective as you can be. So be more of a threat. That's my advice to Michael Bell. Be more of a threat once you get in the paint to score, and then that will open everything else up for you. Uh, Now, here's the biggest thing for me. Numero uno. And I, you would think that we would learn from this because it's the second time this has happened. Um, it's probably more than the second time, but this has happened before against Iowa State and happened again against Norfolk State, and it is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's unacceptably ridiculous. Norfolk State, Jamari Thomas, Allen B. Train, Inge, their other point guard, Inge. They're the only people that scored this game, right? Tell me why they had 40 points in the paint. 40. 40. 40. 40 points in the paint. They had 15 points off free throws and 2 3-pointers. 40 points in the paint. 40. Iowa State had 45. And it's basically the same thing. Pick and roll defense. Iowa State had more of like a handoff, like a rub screen type thing. Norfolk State was just setting a flat screen the whole game. There was no communication. We're getting bumped in one direction. They're coming off. How about we just take them out of it? If that's the only thing they got going, take them out of it. The bigs for Norfolk State, the only time the bigs were effective is when the guards got deep penetration. Somebody had to step up and they had to drop off layup or dunk. They were ineffective the whole game. How about make somebody else beat us? Take a page out of Coach Jones's book. Y'all want to blitz screen? We'll blitz the screen. I think we have more playmakers than they do, but we didn't. And that allowed for them to keep getting into the paint, get 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 into the paint. 40 points in the paint. 40. We have all this length and athleticism. 40 points in the paint. Norfolk State only had 2 threes. They had 2 threes the whole game. The entire game, they had 2 threes. I ain't messing with y'all. I'm going to let it go. So, Norfolk State. Jamari Thomas, 17 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. Allen Beatran, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 huge block. The momentum would have completely shifted if he doesn't make this play. It's such a crazy play. Jason Nelson gets the steal after some great defense. The intensity was there. Second half, and he goes up with this regular left hand layup. You guys see he wasn't familiar with B-Tran's game, but he went and got that shot, and I think that ended up turning into some Norfolk State points. So the momentum swing was crazy right there. What a huge block for him. Now, VCU, Zeb Jackson, 15 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 4 turnovers. Mashoga, 14 points, 2 assists, 2 from 12 from 3. Do y'all see anything wrong? I mean, I think 12 threes is a lot to shoot anyway. But did y'all see anything else wrong with that? Anything else? Nothing? Our 2-point guards had 5 assists collectively. I ain't gonna harp on it. Y'all know. So moving forward, VCU has Memphis this Wednesday coming into the studio. Memphis is coming off a loss to Ole Miss, but a very good Ole Miss team. So I really listen. Hey, if we don't get this points in the paint thing figured out, it's going to be an extremely long season. Listen. Sean is a very, very good basketball player, but he didn't come out in the '86 draft with Nike giving him his own shoe. If we don't get this points in the paint thing figured out, it is going to be a very, very long season. Games we should win, we'll lose. Games we could win, we'll lose. We got to get that figured out. We were out. We were outscored in the paint, 40-18. 40-18. Something's got to give. But I trust our coaching staff. I trust our players want to do better. We got really good guys. Now I want some of these guys to turn into killers. Good guys, I want you to be killers. You're too nice. Be mean. Norfolk State talking this the whole game. Be mean. Christian Furman got a little bit in him. Be mean. Christian Furman, spread that around. Be mean. Broad Street bullies. Be mean. Have a chip on your shoulder. People doubting y'all right now. People don't believe in y'all or the coach right now. Be mean. Use that. Shaking everybody's hand. Be mean. Being mean can change the whole. It's just a mentality. Be mean. Toby Lawal. Be mean. Zev Jackson. Be mean. Max. You cool. Be mad, Max. Be mean. Be mean. That's all I got for y'all. Until next time, never quit. Stay humble. Peace.